We're going to explore a bit within regards to the famous yeshiva, ultra-Orthodox Sephardi yeshiva called Hazon Ovadya, the history within regards to the yeshiva. We've been speaking about many of the great rabbis from the Oriental countries of yesteryear, so I thought this would be a special opportunity. Now, first of all, the Yeshivat Hazon Ovadya, I believe, was established in around the year 1973. Originally, it was established actually as a kollel from the Rishon LeZion, who actually established it, the chief rabbi at the time, Hacham Ovadya Yosef, one of the great rabbis. He was actually the chief rabbi between the years 1973 to 1983. Now, initially, the yeshiva was targeting, let's just say, married avrechim, young men that was married, to train them to the rabbinate, to become rabbis of various communities, all throughout, especially Israel and possibly various other places globally. I think initially it would start off as a kollel system, and the main objective was to train rabbis and make them knowledgeable with regards to the high level of Jewish law, and make them into dayans, Jewish judges, and so they can sit inside Bet Din respectively. I believe he would appoint his son, Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef, to become the head of the yeshiva, which was obviously a very prestigious position. Now, it's actually interesting. Originally, right in its early days, in 1973, it will be located in the street a famous street called Chana Street over there. It would be about 8-9 years initially. It would be named as Rosh Yeshiva. It will be in that specific street in of itself. But a huge boost came around Adar 1982. We're talking about just over 43 years ago, where the yeshiva will be moved, I believe, to be held in the Kataman neighborhood in Jerusalem. And in this ceremony, many of the great rabbis were actually present, including the famous Rabbi Eliashib, who we've spoken about before, great Lithuanian, let's say, leader of his time. Also, there was Rabbi Eliezer Waldenberg, another great rabbi who happened to be the author of the Torah question and answers book called the Tzitz Eliezer, and Rabbi Bezalel Zolti, another great famous rabbi, Ashkenazi rabbi at that time. The yeshiva would be located there for around a 10-year period. It's interesting. Remember, it's in 1982 it was started. Rishon LeZion at that point in time was Rav Ovadya Yosef. So he would have his office, I believe, also located, let's just say, his office will be actually located in that location, respectively, especially while he was still the chief rabbi of Israel. Now, later on, I think the yeshiva will actually now transform into yeshiva format, as it's going to move to the Givat Shaul neighborhood, I believe about 10 years later, in the very early 1990s. Givat Shaul also being an ultra-Orthodox area in Jerusalem, place we've actually visited on this channel various occasions before. Now, come what 2018, which is only about 7 years ago, it would move to the Romema neighborhood, I think on Harakama Street. I think it was actually called that initially, and will be later on called the Romema Yeshiva, if I'm not mistaken. Very interesting enough. Now, there was, let's just say, the Shas party will come into power, especially in the early 80s, let's say respectively. And Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef established, I think, a Chazon Ovadya Yeshiva for Sephardic young men. So now, come what about 2018, there was more than about 100 students over there. Now, the yeshiva has very prominent and wealthy supporters they had over the years, including Moshe Saba Masri, who he happens to have been a very famous Jewish-Mexican businessman and a philanthropist of Syrian origin. I think we've mentioned him on various occasions before. His donations, great donations, really very much helped the yeshiva. Many excellent organizations, let's just say, many benefactors. Well, I think he passed away sadly in English year 2010, to be precise. It was on the 10th of January, about just over 15 years ago. Another fund that really has helped the yeshiva also is Edmund Safra Foundation, I believe. He really did. He happened to have been originally from Beirut, Lebanon. He was a famous bank worker in of itself, and has done huge amounts of great work for Am Yisrael, many different Torah institutions and many institutions in of itself, many Jewish in Israel, many different foundations, many buildings have been dedicated with regards to his help and his philanthropy. Now, it's actually interesting. I think it happened to have been that I think it was around the time period of Elul a few years ago, Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef was appointed Rishon LeZion. This actually was back in the year 2014 we're talking about 2013 or 2014. Yeah, I think 2013 he was appointed the chief rabbi. So then Rabbi Rachamim Yosef was appointed the head of the yeshiva afterwards. Remember, Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef will be the Rishon LeZion, the chief rabbi of Israel, between the years 2013 to 2014. The yeshiva would have various different other great rabbis over there, part of the faculty, including Rabbi Aryeh Nagar, who also great rabbi, also Rav Eyal Azran happened to be, and also Rabbi Shlomo Levi, Rabbi Yehuda Peretz, and Rabbi Shmuel Hayut. I think we've mentioned them on various occasions before. Now, what's the teaching method within regards to the yeshiva? It's a yeshiva style of learning. They learn Gemara with Rishonim and Achronim. Unlike other yeshivot, there was special seder. I think even on Shabbat there's a special seder, a learning. Let's say time period within regards to learning Jewish law, with an emphasis of studying the Sfarim of Yabia Omer and Yalkut Yosef. Yalkut Yosef, having been it's Rabbi Ovadya Yosef, the Rishon LeZion's works, having been written by Chacham Yitzchak Yosef, the former chief rabbi. Also, now it's actually interesting. Halachic rulings and customs in the yeshiva are according to Chacham Ovadya Yosef, the great rabbi. Remember, Rabbi Ovadya Yosef passed away, I believe, back in the year 2013, if I'm not mistaken. It was one of the largest funerals in Israeli history. He was a chief rabbi of Israel, also of his time. So they would follow his books, learn. Now, who were the great rabbis, actually graduates of the Kollel, of the yeshiva, respectively? Included famous Rabbi Yitzchak Peretz, who happened to be the rabbi of Ra'anana at one stage in time. He was a member of the council also, and the Knesset, also one of the ministers of the Israeli government, if I'm not mistaken, but I have to double check on that. Now that Rabbi Yitzchak Daniel, he became the rabbi of the great synagogue in Jerusalem, he would have had a time period learning over there, studying there, graduating. Rabbi Mordechai Gazit, chairman of the Yad Lasir organization, he would also have a window of time. He would be learning there, that he was a graduate. Rabbi Yaakov Zamir happens to be a Dayan, a part of the Bet Din, and the great rabbis of and head of Jewish court in Netanya, respectively. Very, very prominent rabbi. Rabbi Binyamin Yifrach, Ab Bet Din in Ashdod, the head of Jewish court in Ashdod, if I'm not mistaken. Also, another one, Rabbi Avram Dayan, rabbi of the Ramat Sharat neighborhood in Jerusalem. He happened to be Rabbi Avram Daniel, now rabbi of the Ramat neighborhood in Jerusalem. Rabbi David Yosef, the current chief rabbi of Israel. In the last 6 months, nearly to a year, he was also the rabbi of Harnof, the son of Rabbi Ovadya Yosef, Rosh Mostot, the head of the Mostot of Yechevet Dat. We were privileged enough to have his son-in-law, Rabarda, give a Dvar Torah to us on this channel. Rabbi Shmuel Pinchasi, who was being the rabbi of the Machane Yehuda neighborhood and the Rosh Kollel of Darkei David, respectively. He was someone that very much was part of it. Rabbi Eliyahu Tofik, another Rosh Yeshiva of Be'er Yehuda. Rabbi Yitzchak Levi, another great rabbi of the city of Nesher. Rabbi Avram Shlush, the Rosh Bet Din of Haifa, very great Rabbi Avram Shlush, from part of the Shlush rabbinic, let's say, structure. Rabbi Yaniv Aziz, Rosh Mostot Or Yitzchak, I believe. Also, so very, very great rabbis have been graduated. Yosef Hazon Ovadya happens to be, I believe, also a book, if I'm not mistaken, of Rabbi Ovadya, one of the writings of Rabbi Ovadya Yosef, and we've related over much within regards to these great rabbis. We've already spoken about some of the Sfarim of Rabbi Ovadya Yosef. Also, we've already mentioned the structure within regards to the Shas political party of its day. I believe we actually did a special video, special edition within regards to that. Also, I've done very much, and there's websites online within regards to this yeshiva. There happens to be, I believe, a website connected to the Chazon Ovadya Yeshiva. I very much recommend everyone to look into it, to explore more within regards to yeshiva. It's a brilliant institution of highest Talmudei Torah learning, Avrechim now, yeshivot, it's a kollelim, and has a very good connection with many of the rabbis, let's just say, in of itself. There's other organizations, I think, including the Chazon Yitzchak, if I'm not mistaken, which is connected to him, and they get many great speakers to come in constantly to speak inside the yeshiva, to be guests, to give special classes, and there's very much many of the great rabbis. I recommend everyone to actually look more into it. He's had connections, this yeshiva, let's just say, in of itself, with presidents from various countries also, addressing especially Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef, Rabbi David Yosef, who are very much connected to the faculty and history of the yeshiva. So very much recommend everyone to learn more about it, about the yeshiva itself. I wish you all a great day. And watch your space. Hopefully we're going to do some more videos on the great Oriental rabbis of yesteryear and explore more of the history with regards to the famous yeshivot of yesteryear. Wishing you all well.